This message is crucial for every household in the United States, United Kingdom, Canada, and Australia, especially with the constant threat of viral infections growing every season. The immune system is your frontline defense, but the daily habits you adopt are either helping you or hurting you. This isn't about fear. It's about being prepared. It's about giving your body every tool it needs to survive in a world that's full of invisible threats. Viruses don't care how clean your kitchen is or how expensive your supplements are. They care about weaknesses. The number one way to prevent viruses in your body starts with strengthening your immune system through adequate sleep. Most Americans underestimate how powerful a full night's sleep is. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention reports that nearly 1/3 of adults in the United States get less than 7 hours per night. That is a direct attack on your immunity. During sleep, your body releases cytokines, which are proteins that help fight infection and inflammation. Studies from major universities in the United States have found that people who sleep less than 6 hours per night are 4 times more likely to catch a cold after exposure to a virus. When you are sleep deprived, your immune system becomes sluggish, and your body loses the ability to respond fast enough to viral invaders. It doesn't matter if you're taking immune-boosting supplements. If you're not sleeping right, you're weakening the most critical layer of protection. There are Americans working 2 jobs, living off 4 hours of sleep, and wondering why they get sick every winter. The immune system isn't magic. It needs rest. You might say, "I'm just busy," but viruses don't care how busy your schedule is. They attack the exhausted. Next is nutrient-dense whole foods, and that doesn't mean just taking a multivitamin. Your immune system relies on specific nutrients like vitamin C, D, A, zinc, and selenium, and the majority of these should come from your food. People living in the United States often rely on fast food and processed snacks, which are stripped of immune-boosting compounds. A salad once a week isn't going to cut it. If your diet lacks color, deep greens, bright reds, oranges, and purples, your immune system is starving. In Canada and the UK, where long winters can reduce fresh produce availability, frozen vegetables and fruits are still an excellent option. Vitamin D, in particular, is a massive problem in the United States. Nearly 42% of Americans are vitamin D deficient, and this is linked to a significantly higher risk of respiratory infections. Vitamin D acts as a hormone that regulates the immune system. Low levels make you vulnerable. That's why people in both Canada and the United Kingdom who experience long, dark winters are encouraged to supplement with D3. If you're someone who never gets sunlight, never eats fatty fish or fortified foods, your body is in a weakened state, waiting for a virus to pounce. Hand hygiene is a basic yet shockingly neglected tool in preventing viruses. A recent survey found that only 67% of Americans wash their hands with soap after using a public restroom. That's terrifying. Viruses like norovirus, influenza, and even COVID-19 can live on surfaces for hours or days. Every time you touch your phone, door handle, or shopping cart, you're possibly transferring viral particles to your face. The virus doesn't need to be airborne. It can enter through your eyes, nose, or mouth when you rub your face. In Australia and the UK, public health campaigns have strongly emphasized hand washing, especially during flu season. But still, many people treat hand washing as optional. If you can't wash, carry alcohol-based sanitizer with at least 60% alcohol. You'd be shocked at how many infections can be avoided simply by being consistent about this. Then there's hydration, which people underestimate constantly. The immune system needs fluid to operate, and dehydration slows down lymphatic function. Your lymphatic system is like a drainage system that moves immune cells around your body. If you're dehydrated, those cells move slower. In the United States, sugary sodas, energy drinks, and coffee have replaced plain water for millions of people. But those beverages don't hydrate, they dehydrate. If your urine isn't pale yellow, you're not drinking enough. Think of it this way. If viruses are the enemy, then immune cells are the soldiers, and water is their transportation system. In Canada, cold weather makes people drink less because they don't feel as thirsty, but the immune system still needs the same amount of fluid year-round. Warm herbal teas, broths, and water-rich fruits like oranges can help. But this only works if you do it every day. Waiting until you're already sick to start drinking fluids is too late. Another factor is stress. and this might be the biggest silent killer of immune strength. Chronic stress from work, relationships, finances, or even scrolling negative news all day causes the release of cortisol. High cortisol suppresses the function of white blood cells. In the United States, more than 55% of adults report experiencing significant daily stress, and that creates the perfect breeding ground for viral infection. It's not just emotional. Stress physically shuts down parts of your immune defense. It reduces natural killer cells, the ones responsible for attacking virus-infected cells. Some people in the UK and Australia have started adopting meditation, deep breathing, or yoga, but those tools only work if they're practiced consistently. In Canada, mindfulness apps have gained popularity, but just downloading an app doesn't reduce cortisol. You have to use it. Stress is invisible, but its effects on your immune system are as real as any virus. One study found that medical students under exam stress produced half as many antibodies after receiving a flu vaccine. That's how strong stress can be. It weakens your body's ability to respond, even to vaccines. Another critical weapon is regular exercise, and not the kind that leaves you drenched and exhausted. Moderate, consistent exercise like brisk walking, cycling, or light strength training increases the circulation of white blood cells. But the key word is moderate. Overtraining, which is common in fitness culture across the United States, actually suppresses the immune system. Marathon runners and overworked gym goers sometimes wonder why they catch every cold. It's because the body sees extreme training as a stressor. In Australia and Canada, outdoor activities like hiking or swimming offer both movement and immune benefits without overstressing the body. Even 30 minutes of walking 5 times a week can significantly reduce your risk of catching a virus. Yet Americans often say, "I don't have time," while spending hours glued to phones or streaming services. Movement isn't a luxury, it's a biological necessity for immunity. Gut health is another major battleground. Around 70% of the immune system is located in the gut, and if your gut flora is imbalanced, your immune cells are constantly under attack. The standard American diet, SAD, high in processed foods, sugar, and unhealthy fats, destroys beneficial bacteria. That opens the door for viruses to take hold. People in the UK and Australia are increasingly turning to fermented foods like kefir, sauerkraut, and kombucha, which feed the gut's good bacteria. In Canada, probiotics are even recommended during flu season for high-risk populations. If your gut is inflamed, if you have frequent bloating, constipation, or diarrhea, it's a sign your immune army is losing the fight. Start by removing artificial sweeteners, fried foods, and excess sugar. Then slowly add prebiotic fiber from onions, garlic, bananas, and oats. This builds a strong microbial wall that helps stop viruses before they spread. Then we need to address air quality, especially for people living in high-density areas in the United States. Most viruses that affect the respiratory system thrive in dry indoor air. During winter, heaters suck the moisture from the air, and this dries out the mucosal lining in your nose and throat. That lining is your first defense against airborne viruses. Dry membranes mean cracked defense. Using humidifiers to maintain 40-60% humidity can reduce viral survival rates in the air. In Canada and the UK, doctors recommend this especially for people with asthma or respiratory issues. But in many American homes, poor indoor air is made worse by chemical air fresheners, dust, mold, and cigarette smoke, all of which lower immune function. Open windows when possible, use HEPA filters, and avoid smoking indoors. Your lungs need to be strong and clean, because once a virus gets past your nose, it heads straight for the respiratory tract. Another absolutely essential method to prevent viruses from invading your body is by eliminating sugar and ultra-processed foods from your daily diet. In the United States, the average adult consumes over 77 grams of sugar per day, which is more than triple the recommended amount. What most people don't realize is that sugar doesn't just affect your weight. It has a direct, immediate suppressing effect on your immune system. Just one sugary drink can reduce the ability of white blood cells to engulf bacteria and viruses by up to 50% for several hours. That means every time you drink soda, eat donuts, have processed snacks, or sugary cereals, you're disarming your immune system right when you might be exposed to an infection. In Canada and the United Kingdom, public health authorities have raised alarms over the role of sugar in increasing vulnerability to viral illness, especially among children and elderly populations. Viral infections thrive in a body loaded with glucose because excess sugar feeds inflammation. Inflammation makes it easier for viruses to multiply and harder for immune cells to communicate effectively. Even fruit juices marketed as healthy in Australia are often packed with refined sugars that disrupt immune balance. The worst part is many people are addicted to sugar without even realizing it. They experience fatigue, cravings, mood swings, and constant colds, but never connect the dots. Replacing these with whole foods like berries, leafy greens, avocado, and protein-rich meals can restore immune balance within days. Next on the list is avoiding smoking and limiting alcohol, which remain two of the most destructive behaviors in terms of weakening viral defense. In the United States, smoking rates may be declining, but millions still vape or use tobacco, and both forms severely impair lung health. The lungs are one of the most common targets for viruses like influenza and coronaviruses. Smoking damages the cilia, those tiny hair-like structures that sweep viruses and bacteria out of your respiratory tract. Once they're damaged, viruses gain deeper access and can spread rapidly. In Australia, bushfire seasons have even worsened the impact for smokers, as air pollution combined with tobacco creates the perfect storm for respiratory infection. Alcohol also plays a dangerous role. Americans love their social drinking culture, but alcohol suppresses both innate and adaptive immunity. Studies show that just one episode of heavy drinking can significantly reduce the ability of your body to produce cytokines, delay recovery, and increase susceptibility to viral infection for up to 24 hours. In Canada, binge drinking is linked with flu-related complications, especially in college populations. Alcohol also disrupts gut health, interferes with sleep, and causes chronic inflammation, all of which create the ideal environment for a virus to flourish. Reducing alcohol intake and quitting smoking are two of the most impactful changes a person can make to strengthen immune response almost immediately. Sunlight and time in nature are also underestimated tools for preventing viral infections. Most people in the United States spend over 90% of their time indoors, often under artificial lighting in poorly ventilated spaces. This lifestyle starves the body of sunlight, which is necessary not only for vitamin D synthesis, but also for immune regulating hormones like melatonin and serotonin. Vitamin D, as mentioned earlier, is directly linked to the body's ability to produce antimicrobial peptides, which are natural virus-killing molecules. In Canada and the UK, public health authorities have advised vitamin D supplementation during winter because of how low sun exposure becomes. But even in warmer climates like parts of Australia, people are staying indoors more than ever, working from home, watching Netflix, scrolling social media, and missing out on the immune benefits of fresh air and direct sun. Being in nature also reduces stress hormone levels and increases natural killer cell activity, according to multiple studies. Just 15 to 30 minutes of sunlight exposure on the skin can improve immune efficiency dramatically. It doesn't have to be tanning. It can be a walk in the park, time spent gardening, or doing yoga outdoors. Every hour you spend indoors under stress, isolated from nature, you weaken your immunity without even noticing. Another powerful prevention strategy against viruses is avoiding contact with sick people and maintaining personal boundaries, which is often ignored in Western culture, especially in the United States, where showing up to work sick is bizarrely seen as a badge of honor. Pushing through an illness doesn't just prolong your recovery, it exposes others. In workplaces, across Canada and the UK, health agencies have started encouraging remote work options for people with early cold or flu symptoms. But in the US, millions still force themselves into offices, schools, or public spaces while coughing and sneezing. This behavior is not only reckless, it becomes a highway for viruses to spread. Being proactive about distancing from visibly sick individuals, avoiding physical contact, and wearing a mask during cold and flu season when necessary can drastically reduce exposure. In Australia, some communities adopted Japanese-style habits like bowing instead of handshakes during outbreaks, which helped curb transmission. Americans often forget that you don't have to be rude to protect your health. Keeping your space, Avoiding crowded areas during outbreaks and staying home when you're sick is one of the most respectful and responsible actions you can take to protect yourself and others from viruses. Cleaning personal devices and high-touch items is another, practical and overlooked action. Your cell phone may be dirtier than a public toilet. One study in the United States found that the average smartphone carries over 17,000 bacterial gene copies. Many viruses can survive for hours on surfaces like phone screens, keyboards, TV remotes, doorknobs, and light switches. Americans are attached to their phones, but rarely clean them. Every time you pick up your phone after touching a grocery cart, pumping gas, or being in a waiting room, you transfer pathogens right into your hands, and then your face. In Canada and Australia, there have been campaigns reminding people to clean electronics regularly, especially during flu season, but the message is still not loud enough. Using alcohol-based wipes or specially formulated screen cleaners at least once per day can significantly reduce viral transmission. This habit may seem small, but it can act like a firewall against respiratory viruses like RSV and influenza. Think about how often you touch your face without realizing it. Each one of those touches is a possible entry point for a virus that hitched a ride on a surface. Cleaning what you touch every day is not paranoia, it's prevention. One of the most advanced tools emerging from research in the United States and United Kingdom is the use of immunomodulating herbs and compounds, which are now being studied for their antiviral properties. Substances like elderberry extract, echinacea, quercetin, astragalus, and medicinal mushrooms such as reishi and shiitake are gaining attention for their immune-enhancing effects. In the United States, many holistic doctors recommend elderberry during flu season because of its ability to block viral replication in the early stages. Quercetin, a plant compound found in apples and onions, acts as a zinc ionophore. It helps zinc enter cells, where it interferes with viral reproduction. In Canada and the UK, research into adaptogenic herbs like ashwagandha and rhodiola is expanding, particularly among healthcare workers exposed to constant viral threats. These herbs help regulate cortisol and protect immune function under stress. Australia's growing naturopathic community is also exploring immune blends combining turmeric, garlic, and licorice root, which contain powerful antiviral constituents. However, not all supplements are created equal. Quality matters. Many cheap store brands contain fillers or ineffective doses. If you're going to use herbal tools, they need to be pure, tested, and used in the right dosages consistently, not just after you start feeling symptoms.